And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition here of the PondCast. The PondCast episode 93, your weekly dose of all things StarCraft. I'm of course your VIP. With you, I'm joined by Kuro, handling the production, and of course by the lovely people in the chat as well. Welcome, one and all. As we return here with our weekly wrap-up show here of all StarCraft and StarCraft adjacent news. And let us jump right on in to our first bit of news here, and that is a fellow podcast run by Ladder Legends, Beyond the Ladder. Let's go. Beyond the Ladder episode 2 was released. We were going to be discussing it last week, actually, but we were a little bit busy catching up with 2 weeks worth of content. So there was a lot to catch up on. Once again, shout out to Ladder Legends for hosting these little mini podcasts. I say mini just because they're actually quite short. They're quite short. And I'll be honest, it did feel a little bit shorter here as well. The first episode, they were kind of like introducing themselves as the co-founders or owners of Ladder Legends and kind of like their goals and kind of their initial like entrance into StarCraft and their experience and their history with the game, of course, and getting into the more coaching side of things and you know, Ladder Legends itself. But here we had something a little bit different. Here they brought on Empress Lily, who is a fellow streamer, who does a lot of and has recently been casting as well. I really liked the idea, and I got really excited just because I know Kura and I have been discussing a lot about. I mean, there's just too much to do, and we're already at capacity. But the idea of hosting interviews, of certain community members in general, maybe even some that are a little bit more niche, a little bit more obscure, a little bit more behind the scenes at times, to shine the limelight on them and to be able to delve into what it is they do and the role that they have in the community and their experiences and have that kind of back and forth and introduce people to someone that, you know, otherwise they wouldn't even know. And that's kind of what I was expecting coming into. So I was like, oh, let's go. That's not what this was. I mean, they brought on Empress Lily and they had like a very, very, very brief. They lightly touched on some of her backstory, you know, very lightly touching on her history with StarCraft, her history with streaming, her experiences streaming. But again, they very lightly touched on that and then kind of moved on. And they had like a more fun, like back and forth conversation. But this was not really an interview. It was more or less, you know, them kind of like talking about StarCraft, discussing certain things. I know that she even asked them, you know, certain questions about their thoughts on you know, on coaching. Even I thought one of the funnest things that they actually spoke about was things of the nature of like what's the most difficult race to teach and to coach and things of that nature as well. So it was very fun. It was very insightful in regards to, again, their experiences interacting with people and trying to teach people and trying to break the mold or break certain mindsets that certain players have when it comes to their approach to the game to be able to help them improve, because very often people can be a little bit more locked in their ways. 100% they can be locked in their ways, and it can be difficult to kind of break that and help them grow and evolve. And yeah, overall it was very interesting podcast, but again, a little bit short and yeah, didn't really delve too much into the interview side of things, and more so just more of what we had previously, actually, which isn't a bad thing. It's just like I had certain expectations, they weren't necessarily met. Instead, we just had more of a fun back and forth, and again, delving a little bit more into the coaching side of things, the Ladder Legends side of things as well. And I'm curious to see how they approach future episodes as well, whether they bring on other members of the UK or the Ladder Legends community as well, to bring them on to have a chat, to have this more kind of like laid back environment. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting here, and it's good. It's fun little listen. If you have half an hour to spare, then I do recommend it, especially if you're interested in the more coaching aspect or Ladder Legends aspect of StarCraft and improvement aspect as well. I do recommend it. It was a lot of fun. Up next, speaking of podcasts, we had our next podcast by Comeback TV. I think it's just the podcasters, but and I think it's just meant to be a pun because they're all casters. But that's my assumption here. But the podcasters, episode number 41. Of course, the French community, they do host this podcast on a regular basis. But the reason why we bring it up is because they did delve a little bit further into Masters of the Game, which is a big offline event happening in France. We did host one, or they hosted one last year, which we did cover ourselves in English, and they're going to be hosting the second edition this year as well. Towards the end of the month, I know that they confirmed certain dates, so is confirmed. They have the online portion with the qualifiers with the group stage leading into the offline playoffs and the offline finals. And yeah, they were able to delve a little bit more into it. Apparently, tickets have been sold out regarding the venue itself, so it has been very, very successful when it comes to. I'm assuming that it's going to be in the same venue, the same like kind of like bar, gaming bar place that they did host last time, which was a lot of fun, which was great. That like a little stage area as well. I remember that in last year's edition, there was like a line going outside, and they were at capacity, and there were people that couldn't even get in. Like it was just so jam packed. Like everyone was loving it, and it was very successful, very very successful. I'm still in the mindset that we need more funk and coca rapping. That's what we need more rapping, Pap. Yeah. But yeah, so it's great to hear that they're doing well. Of course, I believe crowdfunding is still available for the event to still boost it. So you can of course help support Masters of the Game via the crowdfunding. So you can also do that as well. I don't think it's closed yet. When it comes to bolstering the prize pool and having more to offer when it comes to the event itself. And yeah, let's look forward to it. Let's look forward to. They actually spoke a little bit about. They actually recently started releasing some of the content that they made last year. It took a while for it to happen, but when they had Clem, Hero, Cyril, when they had all the top players in France, they actually did make some recordings and they had like some fun in between segment episodes, and they released that. They released that recently. And then that popped off on the YouTube channel. I think that we'll discuss that as well, how successful it was and how they're gonna try and do more of that in the future as well. With Rainer, Hero, Clem, and Cyril. So I do recommend it. Well, I guess we can go into it maybe next time because there's quite a lot of episodes there. But it's all previously recorded content that we've seen before during the Masters of the Game #1. It's just they only just now started releasing those videos. So it's been a while. It's been a while, but they just now started releasing them, and it's really cool to see. Really cool to see. Always fun to see the players interact, of course, outside of just StarCraft. So shout out to TKL, Coca, and Funka for all that they do for the community and for all that they will continue to do as well, moving forward, coming into Masters of the Game. For sure. And I wish them the best. Of course, we are most likely to be covering it in some way, shape, or form. We did cast all of it last year in English, and we'll do our best to cover it this year. I say we'll do our best, of course. There are maybe some scheduling conflicts on the horizon, so that might hinder our coverage. If we have to settle on replay casts, then we'll just do replay casts. I suppose, like if we have to, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out in regards to Masters of the Game. Meanwhile, when it comes to the next piece of news, we do have a Dark. The Dark, papi. Yeah. Much love to Dark. As he's been giving us a lot of updates over the past year, essentially, when it comes to Dark watching StarCraft, being a little bit envious of everyone competing, showing off his ladder account, showing that he's still active when it comes to playing StarCraft, and he's still very much so interested in following the scene, following the community, and it's still definitely on the mind for Dark. And he even now kind of gave us another update saying that he only has 6 months left in military service. So towards the end of the year, he will be done with said military service, and he's already reaching out to come back. He's like, yo, if there are any teams out there that are interested in working with me, then send me some DMs, because 6 months, time flies. We're gonna be done by the end. We're gonna be done soon in 6 months time, and then bam, Dark is gonna be back in StarCraft. There are still gonna be events waiting for him, of course, and he wants to return. And I know that the Zerg race is desperately looking for a Dark to once again kind of grace us with his presence. I know that Shin, Solar, and Rogue have done the best they can to kind of fill Dark's shoes, but Dark had some big shoes. He had some big feet. You know what they say. Up next, we did have our next piece of news here at Magic Cup, the MMC. The Magic Cup Masters Cup has returned. For those who are maybe unaware, copyright, because I don't think that when it comes to Magic Cup itself, but they are a sister series to the Masters One Open. We have Masters One Open, we have the Magic Cup Masters Cup. So we have two sister tournaments. Of course, we did originate our own events when it comes to amateur tournaments, and later on down the line, Magic Cup Masters Cup did actually rise up as well, at a more NA-friendly time. right? It's like that's the biggest criticism for our tournaments is that they are more focused towards the Asia region, the Southeast Asia region time slots, and also the European time slot. But if you're in Latino America or the Americas itself, like it is a very very rough time slot. If you want to compete in our tournaments, and especially because nowadays like there aren't really many amateur events out there anymore. Yes, we have the amateur league circuit, the amateur league weeklies, but we don't have like SCV Rush. Remember SCV Rush back in the day? We had the platinum. I almost said platinum heroes. No, we had like the Nidus Network events. We had Proxy Tempest. That's it. That's what I was trying to think of. We had Proxy Tempest. We had a bunch of like amateur events that would run on a regular basis in different time zones. No longer. A lot of them have fallen by the wayside. Proxy Tempest, SCV Rush, like they don't really host events anymore. So there's definitely room for amateur events and other time slots. And it's great to see the return of Magic on Masters, for sure, for sure. They've returned. Our tournaments, our monthly MSOs are up to 4.7k MMR. These are also going to be returning as a monthly tournament. I believe previously they were bi-weekly, but now it's going to be a monthly. So we'll say once a month, but this is going to be up to 4.9k MMR. So this is basically up to M1 into low GM. So Masters 1, low GM ish. It is going to be one step above when it comes to MSO, for example, and is going to be returning on a monthly basis, at least for 3 months. They have confirmed that they have funding for at least 3 months of Magic Masters Cup and maybe even a fourth month, and they'll see where they go from there. So again, it's not confirmed that this is back on a fully regular basis, but at least for a limited time, it has returned, which is great. It's great for players of the time zone, for players of the MR range as well, that want to compete, that want to be a part of the tournament circuit, that want to be competitive, and that don't want to wake up at like 5 in the morning, like 5 a.m. for for our events, for example. So yeah, we always wish them the best of luck. Always. We haven't. Again, it's a lot of good people are working on it behind the scenes. A lot of people that we have connections with from years gone by, like ex Alpha X boys. I can think of like Xenodactyl. I think of Snoopy. Like a bunch of those guys would work on this behind the scenes. So best of luck. Best of luck comes to the Magic Masters. Meanwhile, up next we do have something that we were going to discuss last week, but again we just didn't have the time for it. That is StarCraft Evolution. There is another new patch. Oh boy, it was released a week ago, by the way. It was released a week ago. It is patch number 1.19. Not the biggest patch, but at least not in terms of balance updates, but a pretty big patch nonetheless. Let us get into some of the new features, some of the more aesthetic features. Up first, we do have a new skins menu. So it looks like they're going to be adding a bunch of different skins for different buildings available to you for different races to be able to very easily, very quickly kind of like switch between them in the SC Evo clients, or I say in the SC Evo game mod. Of course, there are skins available in StarCraft 2, but specifically because StarCraft Evolution uses the classic models and its own classic skin pack, it looks like they're going to have alternate classic skin packs available to adjust and to customize your units and customize your models in StarCraft Evolution, which is honestly a good thing. I say it's a good thing. It feels like it's one of those things that you do add towards the end, in the sense that it's going to be quite a lot to work on like additional skins for models, and I don't know if we're quite there yet, but they're at least laying down the foundation and the groundwork for that in the future, right? Like it does open things up, so in the future down the line, 1-2 years from now, once we have already settled on the new models and skins for the current units, which they're still working on, once that's all done, then we can start working on alternate arts and alternate models and alternate skins. So that foundation, that menu is going to be available for that. So that will soon be filled up, I'm sure, over time. Up next, we do have something very fun as well, also very aesthetic and very nostalgic. I'm sure Kura remembers this. Segmented wireframes. It's purely aesthetic, but the idea of in your command card back in Brood War, when units were damaged, different areas of the unit would line up, showcasing just how damaged they are. In SC2, it's just blanket green or into yellow, into red, into orange, into red, based on how low it is, but here like it's like a fun little thing where it just shows like different parts of it have been damaged, and it damaged every time.
I will say, for those who didn't play Brood War, the exception was Zeg. Zeg was always completely colored in one thing. They just had like different tones of the color. But for both Protoss and Terran, yes, they had wireframes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So they've added that once again and again. Like, there's no like real like gameplay like thing to it. It's not like, oh no, like the foot has been hurt, so now we can't run as fast or anything like that. And no, not at all. It's just purely a visual thing.
No,
And
but
it's nice.
that was a thing in a child's head for sure. I was
Oh, yeah,
definitely
for
looking
sure,
like, oh,
for sure.
like yeah, this doesn't have legs now. Well,
For sure. When you're playing it as a kid, like you're like it's just it's just a little bit of like it's a little bit of a layer added to it that does help when it comes to immersion, when it comes to getting engrossed into the game. So it's great to see that once again. For sure. It reminds me a little bit more of like, I don't know, like tactic games like XCOM where you or even Fallout where you can target certain like places in the body and they get damaged over time. Definitely has that feel to it for sure. And yeah, it's a really fun addition that they've added. Up next, we do have some straight up new models. We have some new models here for the Arbiter, the Corsair, and the Minerals. And they have a nice little kind of feature as well on the website where you have a slider, you can slide back and forth, where we already had models for these, but it looks like we have just revamped those models. And now they do have a bit of a more classic feel to them. They're, I would say, a little bit less sleek. They're a little bit less modernized. They're a little bit more basic, but they have that more Brood War aesthetic to them as a result of that. Definitely an aesthetic choice. But I can definitely see a world where this is an example of them wanting to create like alternate arts, right? Like you can see here that like one straight, like I wouldn't say that the older version is bad, not at all. But it's definitely different, right? It's very, very different. So if people enjoy the more sleek, modernized look of the Arbiter or the more sleek, modernized look of the Corsairs, then it would make sense to me that, hey, they can just add that as like an alternate skin, right? So because it's already in the game. To have that alternate sleek skin and having the more classic version instead, which is a little bit more blocky, a little bit less detailed, but a little bit more aesthetic, if you will. So yeah, it's really cool that they've made these changes once again, making it look a little bit more distinct from StarCraft 2. And we'll see if these alternate versions get added to the alternate skins in the future. Likewise for the mineral patches as well. I do appreciate it. Definitely, I do. It does evoke a little bit more of that Brood War feel to them when it looks to the new kind of revamped look of the mineral patches as well. I think I like that the most actually. So yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to it in upcoming tournaments for sure.
I have to say, I really like the shading of the cursor. I don't know what it is, but like the light just seems to be much softer on the newer model. It's interesting. It definitely has that feel of all of the older game.
Yeah, for sure. I do think they've captured that quite well. Up next, we do have the patch notes themselves. Now, before we go into that, it looks like we had like a big brief here of the carrier. I'm curious where this kind of came from. Like, it almost feels like maybe Hyper One or the dev team got like a bunch of players like raising concerns about the carrier, and to the point where it felt like it needs to be addressed. It's interesting. Like, I don't know how many messages they got. I don't know how many people raise this kind of concern. I don't know how many people want to see the carrier change in some way or have certain ideals or thoughts on the carrier. To me, it feels a little bit out of left field, but obviously, like, they're a little more ingrained, and maybe they're just hearing from other communities as well. So yeah, it's interesting that they felt the need to like basically just go into what the carrier is and and how it differs from the SC2 carrier and the rationale as to how it is the way that it is now and their rationales as to their approach to trying to balance or trying to change the Protoss race. Going into it here, players have seemingly never been happy. I'm ready. I'm ready for the clown verbiage. I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah, they really
Players
don't like the degen rushes, and they've been complaining about
Sure,
them.
they.
Yeah.
My biggest, I said this before, my biggest critique here about the patch notes every time is that I feel like Hyper One needs like a proofreader. I feel like we need someone to go in and check some of this sometimes. Well, let's go. Players have seemingly never been happy with the state of the Brood War carrier, whether that be Brood War Protoss players, their opponents, or both. We think this is worth addressing openly. Again, this is why I mentioned that I'm curious as to like how prevalent discussion of the carrier was to the point where they felt the need to write an entire essay about it. It's interesting. But again, like maybe there was like an abundance, like a flood of comments and feedback and just thoughts on the carrier itself. It's undeniable that at least part of the current perception of carriers is a direct result of what their exact stats are in SEVA Complete. However, another part of the perception of carriers may stem from comparing the Brutal carrier directly to its SE2 counterpart. They share a name and general concept, and they even look similar in combats, but they operate very differently. The Brutal carrier has 4 base armor, more than the SE2 carrier's base armor, 2 more, I should say. Interceptors which automatically retreat when low on plasma shields and instantly regenerate those plasma shields inside the carrier. Requires both more time to build interceptors and the carrier capacity upgrade to unlock its full combat potential, and belongs to the Brood War Protoss tech tree, not the StarCraft 2 Protoss tech tree. Wow, so I had no idea. Just as it would be a mistake to treat these two factions as direct equivalents, it's also a mistake to try to recreate the SE2 carrier when balancing the Brood War carrier itself. We should not expect them to form identically. I don't know who doesn't have the understanding of this. Like this almost feels like there was maybe even like there was like an argument that was had with like other like members of the community like about the carrier itself, like for this kind of response to come out. It's a bit weird. We often receive the complaint that Brutal carriers do not defeat Thors in direct combat the way that SE2 carriers do. This observation is true, but it is also not grounds for buffing the carrier, because it does not contextualize the fact that Brutal Protoss has access to Destruction Web, which StarCraft 2 does not. We also receive complaints that Brutal carriers do not kill Corruptors and Vikings as quickly as SE2 carriers do. This observation is true. It also completely ignores the fact that Brutal Protoss has access to Corsairs, whose anti-air capabilities any other faction would be jealous to have. They're jealous, but they're celoso. Maelstrom and Sonic Storm together are especially punishing to Corruptor swarms. I mean, again, like I don't think this is. Yeah, I don't know if this is necessary. Like, even when people talk about SE2 carriers, they never speak highly of them when up against Vikings or Corruptors, because the same thing that's said here is applied to StarCraft 2. They're like, oh, you have the Storm and Maelstrom, to help support the carrier. I mean, that's true in SE2 as well. As in, I guess what I'm saying is that people that maybe make this comparison or make this complaint or try to bring up this argument, that argument would also fail and fall in regular SE2 terms as well. Like you never argue for pure like carrier against like Corruptor or against Viking. Like you always discuss it in conjunction with ground support. Right? When you think about a Protoss death ball of an army, you think of Skytoss, but you also think of Archons and Storm, and you have that ground supportive army as well. So like it's applicable to both races. We don't mean to say that the carrier is perfectly tuned. What we are saying is that the carrier does not exist in isolation, but in the context of the wider Brutal Protoss sector, and that it needs to be balanced by considering its differences from its SG counterpart rather than ignoring them. Like, yeah, like this is why like this whole line of dialogue is really weird to me, because this applies to both. And I would hope that at least people that are making these complaints or trying to make these arguments are understanding of that, or would be understanding of that like literally everything that's being said here is also applicable to like the SE2 carrier. It's a bit weird. In any case, patch 1.19 brings significant changes to gateway unit production, and we'd also like to see how these changes affect the early and mid-game before committing to any particular carrier changes. We have to push these follow-up changes sometime next week or the week after, before the onset of SCL Season 3 Ladder Invitational and SCL Code A, B, C Season 1. To make them as conservative as possible. I think this line, this sentence is maybe a little bit more telling. This portion is that it's possible that the only reason why they wrote this is because their understanding of people's concerns regarding maybe even late game Protoss compositions, and they acknowledge them, and they're making changes to that, and they're trying to buff like Brutal Protoss, but they want to address the fact that like they're intentionally not touching the carrier. And they're addressing other units instead, in the hopes of still like overall buffing like the end game kind of like Protoss army composition, and then they're just like directly saying like, hey, like we're gonna make some changes, gonna make some buffs somewhere else. We hear you that we want to change this for the carrier, but there's a reason why we're not, because we're hoping to like help out the other carrier supportive units in their own way, to help buff Brutal Protoss in general as a whole, while still not touching the carrier. But we might still change it, but not right now. I feel like that's like maybe the whole reason why you wrote all this down. In particular, we're looking for changes that will allow Marines and Hydras to fight carriers by destroying the interceptors first, ideally while preserving the 4 base armor and retreating and regenerating interceptor behaviors on the carrier. One such possible change would be to increase interceptor launch period from 0.27 to its core value of 0.33. If you believe you're handling this poorly, we would ask that you engage with these constraints seriously. As opposed to the unserious engagements. Okay. Before proposing a solution. A proposal that treats the carrier in isolation from the rest of the Brood War Protoss toolkit that does not account for how a DPS increase interacts with Disruption Webs, Annex Storm, or Maelstrom, among other spells, or that treats the Brood War and its 2 carriers as equivalent units is not a useful starting point. If you have something that actually navigates these constraints, we would generally like to hear it. Please bring it to modular feedback on the Discord server. Interesting. This is this whole thing feels like we're venting. It feels like we're venting frustrations, Pappy. Oh my god. We're gonna start crying, Pappy. But it's for more or less like frustrations about, like, I guess about certain feedback and about voices that have been quite vocal about the carrier and how and they get, again, it's wild to me that they felt the need to add this here, though. That's kind of crazy. This feels like a Discord post. That's what this feels like. This this feels like a Discord post that would like pin to like the multiplayer feedback thread or something. They added it here, of course, so it can reach you can reach a larger audience. But yeah, it's very interesting. Interesting. All right, let's move on to the changes. Move on to the changes here. Terran changes. Vulture. Vulture is the only change that we've seen so far here. Change the attack scan range from 5.5 to 5. Change the strafing attack disable delay from 0.09 to 0.07 as well. Increase strafing attack range from 0 to 1. Increase strafing attack arc slope from 0 to 2 to 5. Increase ion thrusters movement speed bonus from 40% to 50% movement speed after ion thrusters, 7.35 to 0.87. So we're increasing the movement speed. We're increasing its strafing attack as well. So we're adding a little bit more mobility here to the Vulture, as I believe we did reduce that mobility previously. So it's here in patch 1.16, we made a number of sweeping nerfs to the Vulture that impacted its effectiveness in the early game. One of these was a nerf to the movement speed bonus granted by ion thrusters, which we are reverting to 50%. This nerf negatively impacted the feel of using Vultures too much, and also made the payoff of committed openers such as 2 factory Vulture too low for the risk. The other 4 changes recreate the behavior of Vultures in Brood War, where they fire their weapon as soon as ordered to stop or attack. Vultures will still turn to track enemies, but the weapon can now fire from a wider angle, even when the Vulture is not directly facing its target. Interesting. So it can attack sooner. It can attack sooner. Like the movements and usage of the Vulture should be a little bit better here, just to allow for more variety. I do think that it's again, like, you know, StarCraft Delusion has its own issues. Ideally, this wants to allow for more incentive to kind of like to have mech openers and double factory openers a little bit more viable. Just because, again, you know, bio play is still very prevalent. 3-rack stim play is very prevalent as well. To be fair, I haven't casted the most recent StarCraft Delusion League tournament. So aware as to the most recent play here from players like Beyond and other top Terrans. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if this does incentivize that kind of play. Up next, we have Zerg changes to the Hydra. Hydra's...
Hold on. Do not say anything. Are you holding? Hold on.
Oh, no.
Okay. We're good. Continue.
Okay, in patch, so next up we do have changes to the Hydralis. Hydralis increased movement speed from 3.06 to 3.15, decreased muscular augments movement speed bonus from 41.4 to 37.5. So it looks like the base speed of the Hydra has increased, meanwhile the bonus from the upgrade has decreased. Movement speed after research is unchanged. Oh, no, my apologies. Wait, what? Oh, I guess it offsets that? Interesting. See, with spore colonies nerfed and muscular augments more expensive in recent patches, we are buffing the Hydra's base movement speed, which we mentioned, to allow unupgraded Hydras to reposition more quickly between bases against threats like Banshees and Oracles, while keeping the post-region speed the same. Okay, cool. So increased movement speed for the Hydra. pre-upgrade. And meanwhile, we have our bonus, our Protoss changes. This is kind of like the main bulk here of the patch. Are these changes to Protoss units? First things first is Zealot decreased build time from 26.8 seconds to 25 seconds instead. High Templar decreased build time. Dark Templar decreased build time. And Archon increased attack damage from 30 to 35. Okay. StarCraft 2 Protoss is balanced around gateway units' cooldowns, becoming much faster after Warp Gate research completes. For example, StarCraft 2 Zealots and Stalkers, which take 27 seconds to summon from the gateway, can be warped in every 20 seconds and 23 seconds from Warp Gate, respectively. Brutal Protoss does not have an equivalence mechanic, and currently its gateway unit production is slow enough that Templar Archives-based play seems infeasible, especially against StarCraft 2 Zerg. However, previous balance patches have told us to be wary of the effects of shortening gateway unit production times, since such changes can have disproportionate effects on the early game in all three Brutal Protoss matchups. Okay. First, we are buffing the Zealot build time. Before patch 1.16, the Zealot had 70 plasma shields and built in 23.6 seconds. The current Zealot only has 60 plasma shields, so we hope that a faster Zealot, but still relatively conservative, build time will create a strong but fair opportunities for 2-gate pressure, as well as improve Zealot production throughout in longer games. High Templar and Dark Templar are also having their build times buffed, so Static Storm and Maelstrom based timings should be more feasible, and Roach based aggression should become easier to defend against. Lastly, Archons have their attack buff to one-shot Zerglings. Overall, we expect these buffs to allow gateway-based styles to be viable against SC2 Zerg. This is I would say, a pretty big change here, and hopefully it's successful. Obviously, one of the biggest issues right now with Protoss is its limitations when it comes to viable builds. I mean, that's the case with StarCraft Evolution in general, right? That's one of the reasons why they're buffing the Vulture, to allow for factory-based openers to be viable. Likewise here as well, to allow for more gateway-heavy play to be viable as well. We spoke earlier how it is so common to either open Stargate, or Stargate has been a more recent change, but to open Robo into facility, into Reaver drops, like that's very common to go into like Reaver based play, or to try to rush into Sky Toss off of that as well. Allowing for more gateway heavy style here, I think is a positive thing. Hopefully they're able to make that change, just because right now, again, it does feel like there are certain limitations in SEVO when it comes to viable ways to play out certain matchups. I think that's the biggest hurdle that StarCraft Evolution has been trying to overcome over the past couple of years, is just adding variety, adding like variety when it comes to builds, when it comes to playstyles, when it comes to compositions. That's been the big thing that I would say that they've been struggling with the most, and they're looking to try to improve that, and they're doing the best they can. Up next, we have the Scouts. Increased build cost from 175 to 200 minerals. Oh, it's our weekly Scout change. Let's go. All the Scout changes.
Is
the past few patches.
Is the Scout the bunker build time of the Evo?
It might be. It might be, just because the other big one is like the Marine and the Rax and Stim and Medics, right? Like, how often were they changed as well? They don't get changed here in this patch, true, but like there's I feel like there's a lot of units that happens with, like the Scout, the Marine, the Medic, Stim, Rax build times. The BC's the other one, right? The BC has gotten so many changes as well, but the Scout might be the most. It might be the most. We need some stats on that one. Over the last few patches, we introduced changes that reworked the Scouts and reduced its build cost from 200 to 175. The lateral acceleration change in patch 1.18.3 in particular made it easier than expected to get value out of the Scouts, despite the decrease in damage to non-light ground units. So while we do not necessarily... So basically this is referring to the fact that they buffed the Scout in a lot of different ways. They reduced its cost, they increased its viability when it comes to its damage output, when it comes to its microability, and now they're like scaling it back a little bit, but while still leaving the other changes of the Scout, just making it a little bit more expensive, as now it has more value. While we do not necessarily wish to nerf the Scout's movement again, we do have to concede that 175 might not accurately reflect the Scout's value, even after nerfing its HP by 50 in patch 1.18. Increasing the mineral cost of the Scout makes 1 to 2 Scouts only negligibly more expensive, meaning they remain just as effective when built as a precursor to a different tech option. This increase will slightly slows down the expansion rate of mass Scout openers that rely on photon cannons and shield batteries for full safety. Next, Corsair. the final change. Corsair increased attack arc slope from 0 to 45. So this is similar to the change made to the Vulture in regards to it being able to attack like mid like rotation before it's like fully facing. A decreased attack backswing duration from 0.36 to 0. Decreased attack range slope to 1 to 0.1. Okay. Interesting. Decreased movement speed accelerations for 4.75 to 2.5. Combine these quality life changes slightly improve the Corsair's ability to chase enemies while giving an attack command without requiring additional micro from the player. Okay, there you go. There you go. So interesting. So again, it was mainly, I would say, a couple of changes were made, of course, trying to make factory play more viable in turn matchups, buffing the Hydra to allow for more defensive play against air-based units, and of course the big changes to the gateway setup for Protoss as well. We'll see if this is going to be enough. Hopefully it is. Again, variety is always a good thing, and as I mentioned before, I feel like that's the biggest challenge that SEVO has been attempting to tackle over the past year, if not longer, when it comes to the viability of different kind of styles, different kind of builds, different kind of compositions, and yeah, they're still working on it. Still working on it, of course, and also give feedback, give serious feedback for the for the carrier. Only serious feedback though. Only serious. True. And we have some bug fixes. Bug fixes as well. So yeah, best of luck. I do look forward to seeing some of these changes in the upcoming SC Evo tournaments, bearing in mind that the Open Cups are ending and the Code S and Code A and the code variants are beginning soon TM. Okay, up first we do have our main events. First we have our tournament results. The Wardy TV Spring Cup 2026. Here we go. Did it conclude? Oh, it did. It did conclude. I believe last time we were going through the group stage. Just quickly double checking, and last time we had covered Group A and Group B. C and D had still not concluded. So, we had some surprising results here. If you remember Group C, we were theorizing, my prediction was that it was going to be Zan and Showtime, but Este Tuna, Ryangja himself, he pops off. He takes down Lambo 2-1 and he 2-0 Showtime. Very impressive. If you remember, I was on the fence about Showtime just because we haven't really seen much of Showtime as of late, so I didn't know how to rate and rank Showtime against some of the other players. My assumption was that he would make it through, but no. Zan and Ryung, the onside boys, advanced on instead. So big wins there for Zan and Ryung. Up next, we had Group D. Group D, we had Kira, Rogue, Trigger, and Cristiano. This is more of what we expected. Kira and Rogue advancing out in first and second place. That leads us into the playoffs. Here we had our top 8 players. We had Björn, Rogue, Solar, Ryung, Zan, Percival, Kira, and Shin. Single elimination bracket here. Best of 3s and a best of 5s into a best of 3 finals. Interesting. It says here in the notes that for a couple of these actually they agreed on a show. Was this clashing with something? Hold on. 11th of May. It was on the Monday. In the morning.
I think the reason may be the time, because that would be like early morning in Korea.
Yeah, I mean it was. This would have been at 2 a.m. This would have been at 2 a.m. in Korea. And 3 a.m. in Korea as well. Interesting. Did they host everything in one day? No shot. No shot. Wardy. Did they? No, they didn't. They didn't. 2 days. 2 days. Wait, what? No, it was. Yeah, the entire playoffs was played in one day. So that was 7 series. Yeah, no shot. So It's really unfortunate. As you mentioned, it ended very late, but they casted everything in one day, which I think is a big mistake. Especially for a tournament like this, you want to do quarterfinals day 1 and then semis and finals day 2. Like, is the ideal, especially for talking about best of 5s. Like this is insane. Like how long the cast would last. So yeah, this is this is I'll say a little bit of Wardy. I guess maybe he just wanted to wrap up the tournaments. But hold on. I guess it's very condensed as well. Yeah, he wanted to wrap everything up over the weekend, but ideally have Saturday, Sunday for the playoffs. But he finished Group D on Saturday, so yeah, everything was just kind of really, really jam packed when it comes to the event itself, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I mean, Wardy's been criticized for his scheduling before, and I think it's a shame. I think it's a shame that the tournament ended the way that it did. Ideally, you would have the event have a little bit more room to breathe to make for better games, better series, and a better playoffs as well. So hopefully, Wardy learns from this. I say learns from it. Like, there's a chance that he felt pressured to just jam everything in, and I understand. Like, I'm looking at the schedule, and we've experienced this as well, Kuro. There's not much space, right? Because of GSL and RSL and Masters of the Game later on, like the weekends are full. So the
See,
reality is that if Wardy wanted to host his event, it had to be this weekend, or he'd have to push
also,
it back like a month.
I
Right?
want to say that it's not just that the weekends are full, because you also have the Kung Fu Cups, you have a bunch of other tournaments, and everybody is trying to like cram their event
Yeah.
into this month. Like there's just too many in the same space.
Yeah, I would even say here that it would have been wiser, especially because like the RSL and GSL schedules were known ahead of time. It would have been wiser to push this a month. I like it's always a hard call to make when it comes to trying to reschedule stuff, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to reschedule, especially because like this is a like decent prize pool. Right? It's $1,000. Like, it's $1,000 prize pool. It's like a big event. You know, Wardy, he's like the biggest community caster out there as well. So I understand that, but at the same time, it is it's not reasonable to assume that RSL and GSL will schedule around you because you're an online tournament and these other events are bigger. That's the reality here. So I would have said that this event would have benefited from pushing this back to June. Because the reality is, like, there is like a cooldown period after RSL and GSL. So just wait, right? Just wait for RSL and GSL to wrap up and then bam, host your tournaments. But at the same time, else it's like Wardy's a different case though. Like talking a little bit frankly here, like unlike us, like for us, we would make the decision to reschedule because we're casting GSL and we're casting RSL. Wardy doesn't. Wardy doesn't cast those things, and very often he just. I mean, even this group stage, I believe, even this group stage, he was actually running this group stage at the same time as RSL. Like there was even he was 100%. Like he was just going over RSL for some of these broadcasts. So so from his perspective, he might just not care. He might just not care about these other events. But if that was the case, then just go, just full send it. Just go over RSL playoffs with your playoffs. Just or just do it right after, right? No shot. Especially because Wardy's tournaments are at a more European time. He can try to schedule after RSL on those weekends. Yeah, you can do it. You can figure it out. So yeah, I don't know. This unfortunately this event was just really rushed. It was really rushed, and it made for a worse event in the end. Unfortunately, where everything was just jam packed into a couple of days. Regardless, Bian he toured Rogue. He toured Rogue in the quarterfinals. Solo took down Ryung 2-1. Let's go. Went all the way to the ace match. Solo took down Bian 3-1. It's a big win for Solo, taking down Bian in the semifinals to advance on to the grand finals. Meanwhile, Zhao took down Percival 2-1. Shin took down Kira 2-0. Big win there for Shin. Zhao took down Shin 2-1, and then Solo gets his revenge. If you remember, Zhao did knock Solo out of GSL Season 1, and here Solo he 2-0s Zhao. As Kura mentioned, this was at 3 a.m. in the morning, so very late in South Korea. Again, it was the 7th series of the night, including some best of fives, and I'm sure the players are very fatigued, which is why they were requesting for best of threes instead of best of fives. So less than ideal kind of conditions, unfortunately, but regardless, GG well played. Yeah, no. When it comes to scheduling, Wardy's been notorious for scheduling like this. I would hope that in the future we're able to spread some things out or take into consideration other events and try to work with that. I still think I believe that we could have still held the playoffs and finals this upcoming weekend after RSL, right? And even after GSL, because GSL is early, right? Like GSL is early in the day. Like RSL is also relatively early for Europeans at least. So we can and RSL like playoff days are notoriously fast as well. So you can schedule like 3 hours after RSL and host your quarterfinals and then host like your semis and grand finals like 4 hours after GSL or 5 hours after GSL, and it'd still be a good time for Europeans, for Wardy, and it would still be earlier ending than whatever we had here as well. So the players would be less fatigued. So yeah, I would hope that like this doesn't happen again. I would hope so. Not just for the players, because obviously it would help the players, but also help the broadcast, right? Like, especially for a $1,000 tournament, you don't want a best of three finals, right? You don't want a best of three finals for $1,000 like broadcast. It takes away from the player experience, takes away from the viewer experience, takes away from the organizer experience as well. So I would hope that they change things moving forward. I would hope so. Otherwise, that leads us into RSL Season 5. Here we just spoke about it. This was clashing with the Awardee TV group stages. When it comes to Group C and D, Group C and D also did conclude. Here we have Group C concluding Bunny, Shin, Sheamus, and Beyond. Oh my god, we were hyping up Sheamus last week, if you remember, when it came to Monday Night Weeklies. How Sheamus beat Hero, Sheamus beat Classic, and Sheamus beat Beyond. And here, once again, Sheamus, he 2-1s Beyond. Beyond actually being the first player out of the group. Ay. So crazy result there. Not the first time, but Beyond, he forces Shameless once again. Bunny comes out in first place. If you remember, my prediction was it was going to be Beyond and Bunny. Sorry, Beyond and Shin. Beyond and Shin out of Group C. We had the other one. We had the Biani. We had Bunny and Shin instead. But yeah, Beyond underperforming. Beyond, he does underperform here. He goes down to Sheamus. He goes down to Shin. Beyond out in first. Well, he gets eliminated first. Bunny does advance on in first place. He 2-0 Shin. He 2-0 Shameless. And then Shin does advance on in second place, taking down Shameless 2-0. So congratulations here to Bunny and Shin for making it through. Shout out to Shameless for knocking down Beyond. Leads us into Group D. Group D, if you recall, I was assuming it was going to be double Terran. I was assuming Clem and Cure, but no, it's Clem and Lambo here. Okay. Cure 2-0 down. Cure does fall to Clem's Protoss. Clem does take down Lambo as well. So Clem does advance on in first place. Lambo takes down Zound 2-0 and takes down Cure 2-1. That's a big win for Lambo, taking down Cure. A big upset, I would say. GG, well played, very impressive play there by Lambo for claiming the series and for advancing on into the playoffs, as now we have an extra foreigner. It's not just Clem on his own surrounded by Koreans, but Lambo is there with him as well. We have our playoff seeded. It is going to be Classic versus Solar, Hero versus Shin, Clem versus Rogue, and Bunny versus Lambo. Double elimination bracket, double elimination, and again, the playoffs, they will begin tomorrow. They do begin tomorrow, and I believe it is going to be 3 days.
I just want to say I do find it pretty funny that each of these starting series has a Zerg in it. That's very nice.
Yeah. I imagine intentionally so. They make sure there's no mirror matchups. There's no mirror matchups in the first round, at least. We could still get mirror matchups in the next round, of course. But a nice spread of players here. Once again, this is going to be a 4-day event. We're going to have 2 playoff days this weekend and then 2 more the next weekend. No, sorry, I think it might even be more than that, actually. Hold on. It's going to be 6 playoff days. Jesus. Okay, never mind. So, again, the entire month here, non-stop playoff days for RSL. We'll be co-streaming it here on the channel. We'll be live, we'll be co-streaming. Kura, what are your predictions for the playoffs of RSL?
I mean, you know that I am not legally obligated to say that Hero wins everything, so, I mean, you know. I'll be honest, Shin has been popping off lately. I want to see Shin going far. Obviously Clem is there, so Clem will be probably high, but I want to say that Shin is gonna go far.
Yeah, I think that Shin, he's the only Zerg player in GSL, right? Like that's his like biggest result recently is getting into the top 4 of GSL. He's gonna be playing this weekend as well in GSL. So he's been doing good. Been doing good for himself. He's in a really rough portion of the bracket though. I don't see him getting far, at least in the upper bracket, because he's playing against Hero, and then I would say most likely if he does beat Hero, he has to play against Classic. Like he's got both Protoss players on his side of the bracket. No, shut. So I love Shin. I want him to do well, but he's on the same side as Classic and Hero. I think it's almost guaranteed that a Protoss will advance on into the upper bracket finals between Classic and Hero. Which one? It depends. They're gonna flip some coins in PvP, and sometimes Hero wins, sometimes Classic wins. It'll be either one.
Yeah, that reminds me. Didn't you just cast Hero versus Classic when they like both scouted each other and they just laughed about it?
They did. They both laughed about it. They both cancelled. Like they both went for the same build, the exact same build. SMH my head. That was last night. But yeah, so they both go back and forth, and we expect them to do well. As you said, Clem, there's a very high chance that he also makes it through as well. Like the top 3 players in my brain here are Hero, Classic, and Clem, and I want Shin to perform nicely. Lambo was the big dark horse, right? Lambo, he exceeded expectations in the group stage, and we'll see if he exceeds expectations here as well. Like Lambo, he's like a big dark horse, and so was Bunny. Like I would also say it was an upset that Bunny made it through Group C and not Beyond. Right, like Bunny is less active than Beyond. He's got less accolades to his name as well. So, yeah, I just realized, Kiro, the rise of CJ. We have Hero, Shin, and Bunny. We have all the ex-CJ
Yep.
boys here.
The ex CJ is still going strong.
They're all here. Oh my god. It's great to see. Great to see.
I was a CJ fan back in the day, and I mean, they're still going strong.
Yes, they're still going strong. So best of luck to the CJ players, and yeah, best of luck to all the other competitors here. Again, I want Lambert to do well. I want Bunny to do well. That's a rough matchup. That's a close one as well. Like just because in my mind, both Bunny and Lambert are like the two underdogs in this amongst these players, and I mean, one of them will make it into the upper bracket semis at least, so best of luck. And even if a player has a really rough showing in the upper bracket quarterfinals, it's double elimination, so they still have another chance. They still have another chance to have a deep run from the lower brackets. Best of luck to all the players. Again, this will begin tomorrow. It does begin tomorrow. We'll be there for it. We will be there. Looks like they haven't really done much when it comes to their scheduling so far, though. It looks like it's still going to be 2 series today. God damn it. It's going to be 2 best of 5s, at least, thankfully. Up next, that leads us into the GSL Season 2 qualifiers. For those that are curious, we are the only English casters that covered this event live. The other caster that was covering this, of course, was Inu. Inu was casting in Korean, we were casting in English. No one else jumped on. For Nada, the other casters, is what I will say for Nada. As we, of course, did cover this, and it was a very long broadcast. It was like 7 hours. Like 7 hours of qualifiers. Ay. Coming into this event, there were some big changes though. For GSL Season 2, they did change a bunch of the requirements and a bunch of the requirements here. Because GSL has now become an online event until the semis and finals, it means that they can open things up to outside of Korea, and they've chosen to do so here in Season 2. That is why you have a bunch of foreigners here. You have Geralt, you have Trigger, you have Christiana, Rainer, Clem, Yang Yakov. You have a bunch of players from outside of the Korea competing here. It is not because they are in Korea, but it is because they have the feasibility to travel to Korea in the case that they go to in the case that they make it to the semifinals. So that is the prerequisites. As the group stage is online. So it's really cool to see that GSL, they've opened up to the global foreigner scene, and they've opened up internationally to accept other players. It does lead into a bigger qualifier, to be fair. It does lead into a very, very big qualifier as a result of that. Coming into the qualifiers here, also, the other thing that they did change, if you remember last season, they had the prerequisites, the requirements of streaming on Soup and X amount of hours to be able to compete in GSL. They've removed that. They have removed that, so no longer do they require and force streaming from their players. And instead, again, they've opened it up to the global scene. Up first, we have Clem. Clem, he takes down Bunny 2-0, and he takes down Rogue 2-1. Again, we did cover every single qualifying match. So if you want to see some of these matches, they're all available on YouTube. As this morning, we actually had our rebroadcast of the VOD. Of the Soup VOD. But Clem, he takes down Bunny 2-0, takes down Rogue 2-1, and Clem qualifies for GSL. Rogue 2-0'd Rainer in the lead up to that qualifying match. Classic, he had 2-0'd Trigger. Björn had taken down Lambo, and we had Classic qualifying over Björn for GSL as well. So we have Clem and Classic in Group A qualifying. Then had Rogue getting knocked down. Christiana, he got taken out by Trigger. Rogue 2-0's Trigger in a qualifying match. Rogue also makes it through. And a turn of fate here. We have a newcomer this season. He was not a part of Season 1, but he is going to be part of GSL Season 2 because SOS, he 2-1's Bunny and he 2-0's Beyond. That is a huge upset, a huge win for SOS. GG. GG well played. SOS does also qualify for the first time this year for GSL. Best of luck to SOS. Heading over to Group B, we had Hero. Hero, he took down Ryung 2-1. Shin 2-0'd Cure. And Hero, he 2-0'd Shin. And hey, they're having a rematch in RSL tomorrow. But Hero, he 2-0'd Shin to advance on and to qualify for GSL. We then had Maru. Maru, he 2-0'd Percival. Zaun, once again, 2-1 Solar. Fun fact, Zaun, he defeated Solar in GSL Season 1. Here, he defeats Solar in the GSL Season 2 qualifiers. Again, Solar got his revenge in the Water TV tournaments, but Zaun has been looking quite strong against Solar as of late. And Mara qualifies over Zaun for GSL Season 2. So we have Hero and Maru out of Group B. We then have Creator. Creator, he popped up. Creator, he was one of the players that was not actually present for the Season 1 qualifiers. I'm curious if maybe a reason for that was because of the Soup stream requirements. Like that might have also hindered Creator as well, as he was not streaming on Soup. But Creator, he 2-0'd Solar to advance on, but then he falls to Shin 2-1. He does fall to Shin. Creator, he gets knocked down to the last chance qualifier. Shin qualifies for GSL. Cure, he 2-1s Gumiho, and Cure 2-1s Zaun. Cure also qualifies for GSL. So we have our big names qualifying: Clem alongside Classic, Rogue, SOS, Hero, Maru, Shin, and Cure. That leads us into round 2. These are seeding matches. Bear that in mind. Seeding matches here to advance on directly into the round of 8. So Clem takes down Cure 2-0. Again, all these players in this bracket, they all are already a part of GSL, but this is just to seed players further into the next round. So Maru 2-0s Rogue. Maru takes down Clem 2-1. Went all the way to the ace match, but Maru does qualify. He does get seeded directly into the round of 8. Hero, he 2-1s SOS and he 2-1s Classic. Hey, there's potential rematch there as well in RSL, but Hero 2-1s Classic to advance on into the round of 8. Likewise, Rogue takes down Cure 2-1, Rogue 2-0s Classic, also advancing on to the round of 8, and Clem takes down Shin 2-1 to also get seeded directly into the round of 8 as well. So Maru, Hero, Rogue, and Clem, they all do get seeded directly into the round of 8 of GSL. Best of luck to all those 4 players. Then we had the last chance qualifier. This is all the players that didn't qualify the first time. They get knocked down, they get seeded into their own bracket to have another chance to qualify to GSL. And here we have a player that we haven't seen in quite some time, Gumiho. Gumiho 2-0's Trigger, Gumiho 2-0's Cristiano, and Gumiho qualifies for GSL just barely. Up next at Solar. Solar 2-0'd Bian, Solar 2-0'd Bunny, and Solar also qualifies for GSL, also just barely here in the last chance qualifier. Down here we had Zaun. Zaun 2-0's Trigger. Trigger, he will not be a part of GSL. Trigger, he was a part of GSL Season 1, but he's knocked out of the qualifier in Season 2. Likewise, Bian, he 2-1's Creator. Creator also does not make it into GSL. Zaun 2-1's Bunny. Bunny, who we were just praising for having a strong performance in RSL, but Bunny, he is now also knocked out of GSL, knocked out of the qualifiers. Zaun does qualify over him, and Bian takes on Cristiano 2-0. Bian, the final player to qualify for GSL. So we have Gumiho, Solar, Zaun, and Bian. We have our top performing players. We have our top 12 players for this season of GSL. Very quickly, comparing season to season, I believe there are 3 players the 3 players that are different from season to season. This season, we have our newcomers here. We have Clem, we have SOS, and Gumiho. Clem, SOS, and Gumiho, they were not a part of Season 1. They will now be a part of Season 2. So welcome to Clem, Gumiho, and SOS. Who did we lose as a result of that? We lost Bunny, we lost Trigger, and there's one more, Percival. That's it. So Percival, Bunny, and Trigger are out. Clem, SOS, and Gumiho are in. So those are the 3 differentiating players from season to season, essentially. The other one, of course, is a Creator, but Creator, he did not play in the qualifiers for GSL Season 1. And here is Season 2, he barely did not make it through. So my condolences to Creator, as he's another notable player that did not make it through. GG, well played. Bearing in mind that the semis and finals of Season 1 is going to be this weekend, and Season 2 begins right after. It's, again, a really intense, really condensed period of time in StarCraft here. It's a bit of a shame. I would hope that there'd be like a month breaks in between, and there'd be a little bit more breathing room. I do think that it's a negative thing, that it feels like we're rushing the GSLs, we're rushing Season 1, we're rushing Season 2. I do think that's a negative thing that's happening here. It's almost becoming like a monthly tournament, almost. I know that we had that. If you remember, that was a thing back in the day, in the beginning, in Wings of Liberty. We actually had monthly GSLs, which was crazy. And I'm hoping we don't go back to that. We don't necessarily need that here. I think it's important to give not just players, but casters and, more importantly, viewers, like some time to breathe, like a cooldown period to kind of like process the season, to process the current game state, to then get into the next season of GSL. To have it like back to back here, it's a bit much, in my opinion. is a bit much. Up next, we have our modern tournaments. We do have StarCraft Evolution. We have SCL number 21. Again, these are going to be the final SCL StarCraft Evolution Open Cups, which we're going to be covering here. So SCL 21, once again, we do still have our regular map pool. I'm hoping that one day we do mix this up. I'm still shocked that Sylphid is still in the map pool. Like, we've had that for so long. it's almost the beginning, actually. It's not a bad map, but I'd like to get it rotated the hell out and have some fresh maps. That is my hope, at least. But up first here we have Kira. Kira takes down Deathmars 2-0. He takes down Solar 2-1. Takes down Shin 3-0. And then it goes up against Beyond in the grand finals. They go all the way to the ace match. Kira and Beyond, they go all the way to game 5. And Kira takes down Beyond 3-2. On his road there to the finals, Beyond, he took down Homono 2-1 and took down 3.3-1 as well. GG well played. A very solid performance there, bearing in mind that Cure is not very familiar with StarCraft Evolution. He's one of the least experienced players in SC Evo, but he does claim the win. GG well played. With that, he does claim the win. That leads us into the SC Evolution League number 22. This was our most recent SC Evo, and I believe the final StarCraft Evolution Open Cup as well. It all ends with this, and this also feeds directly into the ladder invitational. Here we had Classic. Classic, he has made his return. He takes down the STC. He takes down the STC 2-0. Haven't seen him play in quite some time. Takes down the Homemono 2-0. Takes down Starat 3-0, and takes down Shin in the grand final. Shin, he took down Dice. Great to see Dice again. It's been a while. We took down Dice, Hwarang, alongside Beyond 3-2, also into the ace match, an intense back and forth there. And Classic takes down Shin 3-2 as well. We're missing some players here. There's no Cure, there's no Solar, for example. But regardless, strong performance there by Classic does claim the win. I mean, went back and forth, right? It was very back and forth between Classic and Shin. Congratulations to Classic for claiming the win. Again, he's the best Protoss player in StarCraft Evolution, currently at least. Is the best Protoss. And does take it. That leads into the StarCraft Evolution Masters number 6 is a show match, a best of 7 show match between Solar and Classic. As we mentioned, Classic, he's the best Protoss in StarCraft Evolution. For Zerg players, you can make an argument. You can make an argument for both Solar and Shin. Like, I don't really know who to place above the other, but both Solar and Shin are very close in skill in SC Evolution. And hey, this goes all the way to the ace match, goes all the way to game 7. Once again, we have an intense back and forth here. Between Solar and Classic. And Classic, he barely comes out on top in the show match. GG well played. Interesting. Yeah, GG well played. I feel like there's value here seeing what races were played, but Classic, he mainly won games with his SE2 race. And he lost, I think, almost all games with his Brutal race. Interesting. Game 1 was the exception, though. Game 1 was the exception, where he did play Brood War on Ruby Rock, did win the first game, and then went from there. But yeah, I do look forward to catching up on some of these replays, some of these matches. Hopefully enough time passes where I do figure out some of these results coming into like a month from now where we can cover some of these matches. Up next, we do have more Race Wars. Let's go. we can't get enough Race Wars, Pappy. True. Race Wars number 2. I believe last time we had already covered... no, wait, is this new?
We did the PvT. They only did PvT by the last podcast.
Yeah. So we wrapped up the Terran versus Protoss race war, but up next we have the Zerg versus Terran race war instead. Again, Terran, they dominated TVP, winning every single round previously. For the ZVT, here we had a tie. Best of 4? Wait, what? We had a best of 4 between Zerg and Terran here, with Iosop taking down Zardiant, Young Yakov took down Jedos, then Zardiant and Jedos, they did win the rematches essentially as well. So we had a tied 2-2 scoreline in the best of 4. We then had a best of 5 2v2 show match here, where the Zerg players came out on top. Iosop and Young Yakov, they take down Zardiant and Jedos. And then that leads us into the best of 7. Best of 7 here between Zerg and Terran. And Zerg, they barely claimed the win, 4-3 over the Terran. Iosop took down Zardiant on Ruby Rock. We had Young Yakov taking down Jedos. Young Yakov took down Jedos again, and took down Zardiant in the in that final best of 7 match, in that final 7th game between Zerg and Terran. I would say that it's a bit of an upset for Zardiant to have won some maps here and there, but this is StarCraft Evolution, to be fair, so there's another X factor involved. But shout out to both Jedos and Zardiant for holding their own against Young Yakov and these other top players. That leads us into the Protoss versus Zerg matchup here. We have initial best of four, where we do have Iosop, and Yang Yakov. They 4-0 Middle VK and Sheamus. That's huge, by the way. Like for Iosop to bring down Sheamus, for Yang Yakov as well. Sheamus, I would say, is probably the best player in this entire event. So for him to fall here, like these are some big wins and big results. For the 2v2 as well, Yang Yakov and Iosop, they barely claimed the win, 3-2 over Sheamus and Middle VK. And likewise in the best of seven, 4-1 in favor of Zerg. So Zerg, they come out on top against Protoss, they come out on top against Terran, and Terran comes out on top against Protoss in the end. So the race wars conclude. Protoss confirmed the weakest race.
By the way,
True.
I want to. There's also a note that there was also a free-for-all match, and Team Terran won. That's all it says. Team
like
Terran won.
It's just a line of text there. They won. Okay. Lovely. Shaking my head. Shout out to Baratok for hosting this event and hoping to see some more race wars in the future. Hoping to see. Because that leads us into the Soccer 2 Entertainment Cup number 2. Okay. I believe this is with all the casters again, right? Just checking here. But we do see XY. Is this Chassé? No. It's the SC2 caster from Terror Project. I see. Zhang Chen Lin. So I believe these are all like casters, content creators. Like these are not pro players. This is an event that is this organized by Thunderfire? Let's have a look here. No, actually, it's organized by Toy Project. Okay. No, yeah, it is sponsored by Thunderfire. Yeah. So we've seen this before. This is the second event. So the first one, if you remember, it did incorporate like Chassé and SC Boy and I think Oliveira and some of these other guys, some of these other content creators and casters. We did it once again. Actually, I just realized I was curious who some of these people were. They're VTubers. God.
Yeah, of course they are. Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah. We have some VTubers getting involved as well.
For those who are curious.
I'm reminded of the CranKy Chizik event that he did, where he also
it's exactly that. Yes.
Yeah, where he was also teaching some VTubers how to play StarCraft. But again, there's a lot of money on the line here, sponsored by Thunderfire, and this is basically an event for streamers, casters, and content creators to embrace StarCraft, to have a big fun event as well. What did we have? Do we have FFAs? Did we have?
This is actually
SE Tavern Battle.
Yes, this is playing Tavern Battle.
Yeah. So it's a custom arcade game where they all played together, of course. And in the end, we had 2 days of tournaments, and in the end, we had one champion here. Let's see, translate. Is this one of the VTubers? The name translates to potato. Potato wins. The potato. Let's go. Playing random, and let's have a look at the graphic here. Can we tell who's the potato? I think the potato is the cat graphic. Am I correct? Yes. So the cat photo, like that's the cat wins by let's go. So the potato cat does claim the win and is going to be our Soccer 2 Entertainment Cup champion. Congrats. I'm sure we'll be seeing more of these in the future, and again, it's just a way to kind of get other Chinese content creators that aren't focused on StarCraft but to bring them into the fold. Typically these aren't SC2 content creators, but they are Blizzard casters and content creators, right? So maybe they do like Hearthstone content or Overwatch content or Diablo, or for like we had two like StarCraft personalities with XY and the caster of Toho Project. So we had some StarCraft personalities, but the rest more or less are most likely from other Blizzard titles, and they all come together and they cross-pollinate and they have this fun event. Honestly, it's like a really good event to kind of like, to cross-pollinate and to kind of promote StarCraft to some of these other communities. It'd be great if we had something like this internationally as well, but regardless, the Thunderfire, they're doing a lot for the Chinese scene. Doing a lot. As they even host some regular pro tournaments as well, which we'll be getting into. Esther Thunderfire. Up next, we do have our amateur events. We do have our Amateur League monthly tournaments, not weekly. The seeded tournaments based on performances throughout the entire month. So we have our top 4 here for the Initiate for the Initiate Series. This is for Bronze to Platinum. Bronze to Platinum monthly tournament here. We have Jackals, Merlio, Dreevy, and Tebs. Here we have Jackals. Jackals takes down Merlio. 2-1 takes down Tebs, 2-1, and takes down Merlio in the rematch 3-0. Congratulations to Jackals for claiming the win for the Initiate monthly. Number 51. That leads us into the Veteran Edition. This is for Diamond 3 to Diamond 2 monthly tournaments. Once again, we have our top 5 this time, actually. We have our top 5 players. We have Old Lady, we have Review, we have Frank Edible, we have Glacius, and we have Pretty Fly, a player that we are familiar with. It looks like Pretty Fly, there was a bunch of walkovers. Yeah, it was a bunch of walkovers, so Pretty Fly was not able to compete. In the end, Revio takes down Pretty Fly, takes down Old Lady, takes down Frank Edible 2-1, and takes down Glacius 3-0 in the grand finals. GG well played. Reeve claims the series, claims the win. Congratulations. Congratulations here. Up next, we have the Prestige monthly tournaments. Number 51, of course. This is for Diamond 1 to Masters 2. Here we had 9 invited players. We had Steez, we had Scruffy, we had Pradox, we had Defiance, Cubano, Milka, TC, Boney,
I want to say, I don't think those are invites. I think the monthly tournament is the NA time zone one, and the weekly tournament is the EU time zone one. And the season finals are invited.
Okay. So this is still open to all. Still, it is the seasonals that are invited instead. Still point breakdown. No prize money for this event. But we did have Steez. Steez takes down Scruffy 2-0, takes down Defiance 2-0. Does fall to Milka in the semifinals as Milka does advance on to take down Boreal 3-0 to claim the win. GG well played. Milka does claim the win here over Boreal, over Steez, over them all. Congratulations. Leads us into the Elite Edition. Here we have Raza. Not to be confused with Raza. This is Raza Racita. Does get the walkover win. GG. GG will play. Does get the walkover win here, as there was no one else competing. This leads us into our amateur monthly tournaments. We did have to stack them up quite quickly just because, again, because of RSL and GSL and all these other events, we've just had no time. Well, there's just no other free spots available, so it's just a very jam-packed month. Like, May is crazy. But it's okay, Kurt, because you know what? June...
Say it. Just say it. Just say it. Just don't.
May might be intense and jam-packed, but June. I'm looking at June on the count. It's empty. Look at it. Look at June. June is so empty. It's not like we have Masters of the Game in June. Don't worry about that. Not like we have the Thermal 2v2 circuit scheduled for June either. No, don't worry about that. It's fine. It'll be fine. Empty. It's looking at like a lean month.
This view has been running from January. It's been half a year.
It's to be fair, January was lean for us, but that's also because we specifically chose we couldn't cast. There were other things happening in January, if you remember, but that was a lean month. It was the only one. No. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Up first, though, SDO. We have SDO Sealing Open number 145, the TLMC 22 edition. For those that are curious, we do the best that we can to ensure that we have TLMC maps for every one of our tournaments for as long as we can until the voting does conclude. So we do have our Bronze to Diamond tournament up to 4.2k MMR and below. Here we had a bit of a slimmer bracket, but again, because the events had to be a little bit more jam-packed, it was less time to react and respond. We did have a bit of a lower sign-up rate this month, but I'm sure that will change moving forward. Here we had our top 5 players. We had Libre, we had Roxas, Lauren, Sugarcoat II, and Kayo. Coming into this event, Sugarcoat takes down Kayo 2-0, does fall to Libre initially, but we have the rematch here. Sugarcoat takes down Lauren 2-1, and takes down Libre 3-2 in the grand finals. Big win for Sugarcoat. I think this is Sugarcoat's first win, correct? Like, I believe this is their first time winning a Duckling Open. They've been very active in competing in a lot of these events, but I don't think they've made it even to the finals before.
I think they've been at least in finals, but I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, double checking. Yeah. So this is their first win. They have made it to the finals, not this year, not in 2026, but in 2025. In 2025, they did make it to the finals a couple of times, literally twice. But yeah, big win here for Sugarcoat as he does claim his first win in the Duckling Open. GG all played. Congratulations to Shurikot II, the Latvian Zurich player. That leads us into the MSO, the Master Swan Open. Again, this is our monthly tournament, also TLMC 22 edition, MSO number 103. This is for 4.7k and below. Here we likewise had a bit of a leaner brackets, but we had the return of Chocolate. Chocolate, he is an old school player from years gone by. He has not competed in quite some time, and great to see him come back.
I just want to say that I wonder if it's all my fault, because when we were casting previous tournament with Steel, we were talking about how, yeah, this tournament is like, you know, for the Oceania times, or for Asia and so on. And I'm like, yeah, we used to have all these players like Chocolate, and I remember I specifically dropped his name, and literally an hour after I see him adding the amateur tournament role on our Discord. I'm like, oh, they just call him out.
Let's go. Chocolate, he is back, and he does fall immediately to Roselia. Roselia takes down Chocolate 2-1 in the first round. Likewise does fall to Milka. If you recall, Milka did win the previous Amateur League monthly tournaments. If you recall, that's the same Milka. Milka takes down Roselia. Milka falls to Boreal in the upper bracket finals, and then Chocolate gets his revenge. Chocolate takes down Roselia in the lower bracket 1-0, takes down Milka 2-1, and then takes down Boreal 3-1 in the grand finals. GG, well played. Again, Chocolate is a very old school player, used to compete many years ago, and only recently has returned to playing and actively competing in StarCraft. Great to see Chocolate return. The Singaporean Zerg claims the win. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Chocolate. It does claim the win. That leads us into the Ladder Legends Academy Showdown, Amateur Showdown number 4. This is for players that are 4.5k MR and below. It looks like this event did conclude, but has not been updated at all on Wikipedia. Oh my god, what the hell?
So this is because to you, the viewer, if you are watching this and you have an account on TL or want to make an account on TL, you can also log into Wikipedia and update this bracket, because it hasn't been yet.
I'm just shocked because it's been almost a week. Like, that's crazy. It's been almost a week and no one has updated this. What the hell? That's kind of crazy. But yeah, looking at the challenge bracket here, we have a lot of players that we are familiar with, I should say. Again, this is 4.5k and below, so this is lower MMR than our MSO tournament. We have Beast, we have GNC, we have Defiance, who else we know is Himars, Zigger as well, but a couple of players that I'm a little bit less familiar with here. I'm sure a bunch of Ladder Legends community members did also decide to jump in, bearing in mind this is at a more NA-friendly time zone. True, a little more NA-friendly. More so than our events. Coming to the event itself, we have Beast. The Beast, he takes down Emperor 2-0, takes down Nidhogg 2-1, takes down It's Will, 2-0, it takes down Ilya 3-0 in the grand finals. GG, well played. Beast does claim the win. Is going to be our champion. And I believe this was casted by Empress Lily. They were mentioning it during their podcast, actually, but Empress Lily was covering the event, as there was also a third place match. Honestly, a decent prize pool, 50 USD prize pool. We got some OC points as well, and a bit of a shame that literally no one stepped up to edit this event. I mean, these amateur events, they're a little bit more daunting for the average player, because if you're not like engrossed in the amateur scene, you don't know the flags of these players or the races of these players. So I can understand some people maybe being intimidated by making the bracket for this, because it's like, who are these people? But we know these people. Like, we know Beast. We know Nidhogg, we know Ilya, we know Himars, we know Alfir.
The thing is, there are two things. Firstly, you can just fill the bracket without adding the flags and just, let somebody else add the rest of the information. But secondly, lately, again, because Wikipedia has been adding more automatization to various things, there are also like some features that actually search for the same player name on other brackets and just add that information for you in that sense.
Yeah, exactly. That is also available as well. So yeah, if you're out there, if you want to contribute to the scene, to the community, to StarCraft, then you can do so via helping out, at least with this, when it comes to the Ladder Legends Amateur Showdown Wikipedia page. Wikipedia page. So you can do so there as well. As congratulations to Beast. Congratulations, let's claim the win, and shout out to our top 3 players as well. For also earning some prize money. That leads us into the Chat Star League number 47. I desperately want to change this, because it bothers me every single time that they don't have the MMR restriction in the Wikipedia page for some reason. it's just not there.
I mean, just add it.
This is for
just add it.
Yeah, it's for 5.3k MR and below. So 5.3k and below. once again, this also was what the hell's going on with Wikipedia, but it's also not updated. What the hell? And this is more egregious because these are known players like Universities, Patches, Magnath, Gref. Like this is public. Like these are known players themselves. SMH my head. You know what it is, Curry? You know what it is? Like I understand this. It's because you can't just make brackets like you used to. Okay, you gotta like construct and generate the bracket. Like who knows how to do
It's
that?
not true.
No one.
That's easier. It's actually I love this tool. I will have you
Yeah,
know, and I will fight about it. Okay, it's a great tool.
I back in my day, okay, you'd have a bunch of templates with different brackets, and you just copy
Uh-huh.
paste it in, and then you'd fill it
Yeah,
up,
and then you had like
fill it up.
10,000 templates, and people would keep losing
Yeah,
like their place in the
I
bracket
didn't lose
because it
them.
was a mess.
I did not lose
Yeah.
them. No, I knew where I was. I was fine. We did it back in my day. None of this generate bracket and add parameters for specificities as to like how many rounds for each for quarterfinals or round of 16 or third place match. So I understand. I understand people's frustrations. I get it. I understand. Ah, SMH my head.
SMH, indeed.
Regardless, Gref takes down Magna 3-0, takes down Universe 3-0, and Gref is going to be our Chat StarCraft League champion for the 47th edition. Congratulations, Gref. Gref, of course, is an infamous cannon rusher. Does almost nothing but cannon rush. I'm sure led to a very entertaining set of matches. GG. GG well played. Congratulations here to Gref. That leads us into the Thermal 2v2 Circuit Last Chance Qualifier for the 2026 series and circuit. Again, this is the last chance for players to gain points, and to qualify. Sorry, not even gain points, but just to qualify for the main events. And here we had our top two players, GG Machine and Shameless. Again, they are some of the best 2-2 teams in the world. They 2-0 Iba and Sebestis. They 2-0 Milky Cow and Young Yakov. They 3-0 Showtime and Uwu Thermal. Big 3-0 there. And then they go up against Maru and SOS. Maru and SOS, the ex-Jin Air boys, by the way. SOS, who has been looking in form, who qualified for GSL this season. They took down Harsam and Percival. Interesting duo. They took down Gugus and Hino. They took down Def Mars and Sardians, another top team when it comes to 2-2 circuit. And then went all the way to the ace match against GG Machine and Shameless, went all the way to game 5, and they did end up falling and failing in that final series. It was very close, very clutch. Congratulations to Shameless and GG Machine. It would not be a 2-2 circuit without them. So great to see that they will be a part of the playoffs. GG. GG well played. My condolences to Thermal. Thermal, he will not be a part of it. He will be casting, but he will not be competing in the playoffs as he does barely not get enough points to be a part of it. It's a bit of a shame, but I would say it's maybe a good thing in the sense that Thermal, he's been able to create an environment where the 2v2 competitive scene is more competitive than it's ever been. Right. The big difference between last season and this season is the Koreans. Right. Last year in the first edition of this circuit, the Koreans were barely playing in this. Like every now and then you see like a Byun and a Solar teaming up, like a Beyond and a Percival, but for the most part, Koreans had not really embraced 2v2. Specifically, this season, we had so many more Korean teams and so much more Korean representation, led to a more competitive bracket, led to a more competitive playoffs, and does mean that Euthermal barely does not make it through. GG will play. Euthermal, not just Euthermal, but Showtime is another player that also made it last time. Will not be a part of the playoffs. I want to say that Showtime even made it into the playoffs of the playoffs even, if I remember correctly, but I could be mistaken. But regardless, GG will play. Congratulations to G Machine and Shameless. Congratulations. That leads us into.
With that, I do want to mention that the group stage for the season finals is already announced. Are they ready?
Oh yeah, true. Actually, we can have a look at the season finals now when it comes to the overall standings and the players that made it through. So here we go. So for the 2-2 Euthermal circuits, for the main events, we do have 6 Protoss, 5 Terran, and 7 Zerg. We have Classic, Hero, Max, Skillus, Trigger, and Shameless for Protoss. We have Byun, Clem, Cure, Big Gabe, and Spirit for Terran. And we have a Laser, Lambo, Rogue, Cyril, Shin, Solar, and GG Machine for Zerg. Oh boy, so a hefty lineup here of Terran Protoss and Zerg, and we have the group seeded. We have it's going to be in 3 weeks. It's going to be in 3 weeks' time. It's going to be in June the 6th. So as we mentioned, June is going to be very lean, except for except for the thermal circuit and other events that are soon to be announced. I'm sure it'll be fine, Bap. It'll be fine. But yeah, the circuit is going to be commencing in June. Here we have our two groups. They have been fully set up here. It looks like the bottom three players will be knocked out of Group Stage 1. But the great thing about this format, of course, is that in the group stage, you play with a different teammates, a different player, every single round. So it's round robin in every aspect. Round robin when it comes to your opponents, but also round robin when it comes to your teammate as well. That is why you have to know or you have to be able to compete and play 2v2 with every race as a teammate and different styles as well. Because I'm sure different players, some are more aggressive than others, some are more macro than others, some prefer certain styles, some prefer certain compositions. So it's a wild format and a lot of fun as well. Wild, crazy. It led to some amazing matches last season. I'm sure we'll do it again. Sure, we'll do it again here as well. And if you recall, last time, and I think this time as well, is going to be a streaming bonus, where it does incentivize everyone to just stream their POVs, to not just stream their POVs, but also as a result of that, often stream their comms as well, and leads into just getting another glimpse of these players and hearing from them and seeing them freak out and panic and yell at each other. It's beautiful.
This time the bonus is slightly different because last time it was just streaming at least 5 series in any way. This time you actually need to have a webcam and a microphone to get it, and you have to stream all of your series. I am from Group Stage 1, but all of your series, not just some of them.
Oh yeah, exactly. So they need the camera, they need the microphone, they need the chat on the screen, they need to emote
There's no
as best they can.
For that, no.
They need alerts. They need chat commands as well. Yes. We need to be able to.
The chat command
send
needs
alerts
to
to them.
link to the match, clearly.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. Exactly. It's gonna be beautiful. So looking forward to that as well when it comes to the streamer bonus. Otherwise, again, the events will be taking place in 3 weeks' time, which means you have time to prepare. And I believe your Thermal is floating around the idea of hosting some practice cups, like some bonus cups that don't give points or anything, but do allow for players to compete in the 2-2 formats in the lead up to the main event. So I do look forward to that in the future. Up next, we do have the StarCraft 2 Community Team League 2026 Springs regular season. Again, this is a Chinese team league. The rounds are continuing. We are now halfway through. No, not even halfway. Jesus, it's going to be a long time. Not even halfway through the rounds. Not even halfway through the group stage. But here we go. Round 6 has concluded. First, we had Super Kitty. Super Kitty, they take down PCEC 4-2. Big win for Super Kitty. As Silky tries to lead the charge here, but no. Instead, we had the rest of his team carrying their weight as well. It's a big win there for Super Kitty. Meanwhile, Super Puppy on the other side, they take down Protoss the Best 5-1. Big win for Super Puppy. We need Super Bunny. That's who we need. No. Up next, we had Team Hiss. Team Hiss, they take down Kauda 4-2. Big win there for Hiss. They do bring them down in a 4-2 best of 7. We then had Team Astartes taking down Elpis 4-3.
If we have to sign up for this league, just field some players, so it's super ducky.
Yes. No. But Astartes take down Elpis 4-3, a bit of a closer back and forth, by the way. So big win there for Astartes. Shout out to Elpis 3 for making a series out of this. Again, they're the amateur kind of academy team of Elpis, one of them. We had Toho Project. Toho Project, they take down Fairy Thug 5-1. Strong showing there by Toho Project. And then we had the big results of the big matchup of the week. Elpis versus Old Man. This is some of the best teams in the league facing off against each other here in round 6. Old Man, of course, I would say they're one of the better, stronger teams, as they have Kingslayer, Jeshi, and Cyan. A very strong, hefty lineup here, but no, Lemon is playing for Elpis, so Lemon takes down Kingslayer 2-0. We then had Nanami Chiaki. Nanami Chiaki takes down Jeshi 2-0. That's a big win for Nanami, by the way. Jeshi is an older veteran player. I mean, he's an old man. As the team name suggests, Jeshi is an old man. So with that experience, we do expect, some stronger results here. But no, the younger upstart Nanami Chiaki still has a spring in his step, still has a smile on his face, and takes down Jeshi 2-0. GG well played. Then Cyan does bring it back for his team, taking down Oriana 2-0. I don't know why Oriana has Chinese characters as his name, because I don't think I've seen that before, but Este Oriana. So Oriana does fall to Cyan, a big winner for Cyan, but unfortunately for Cyan, it was not good enough for his team to make it through. Elpis take down Old Man 4-2. Big win for Elpis. GG. GG well played. Up next, you had Rookie Warpgate. Rookie Warpgate 4-2 over Team Lior. They do claim the win. And then we had another big lineup here. We had Team Little Fairy up against Starlight Twinkle. And honestly, I favored Starlight Twinkle in this series. Triple H and YRYF, they tie 1-1. That's a big win for YRYF. I was favoring Triple H. Jalua Loves ties 1-1 with Ear. Once again, what's going on? I do favor Jalua in that series, but no, Ear does take a game. Big win for Ear. And then UED Soldier, the ace player of Team Little Fairy, the Shameless replacement. If you remember, Shameless was on Team Little Fairy and was the ace player for a long time until he got picked up by Stony Balls. And now we had UED Soldier rise up in his stead, and he does 2-0 rewrite. Big win there for UED Soldier. GG well played. GG well played. Team Little Fairy, I would say, cause the upset. They do cause the upset here. They do take down Starlight Twinkle. And with that, that concludes round 6. Coming up next, we have round 7. When it comes to the lineups here, do any lineups catch my eye? Not really. It looks like we're going to be cooling things down here. Again, round 6 was brutal. Like, round 6, we had Old Man versus Elpis and Starlight Twinkle versus Little Fairy. Like, those are, like, arguably the top 4 teams in the league. Arguably. So they face up against each other. Here, round 7, we're going to be cooling things down a little bit. You can argue Elpis versus Rookie Warpgate is going to be a lot of fun, for sure. I think that's maybe the highest profile match of the round. Best of luck for the other players, though. Best of luck for the other matchups. That leads us into our next bit of news here. That leads us into the regional events and show matches. First, we have the Hungarian circuit. If you recall, there are a bunch of Hungarian tournaments that are coming together as one, that are creating their own circuit, leading into an offline finals in Budapest. That is going to be Vortex. Vortex is going to be a big offline event in Budapest. We do have all these other online tournaments that lead into it, and we had the conclusion of Endgame. If you recall, we actually rated them. We actually rated Aztecs earlier this week while they were casting the finals of this tournament, and they gave us a nice shout out on Discord. So big shout out to Aztecs for organizing and for running the events, for running Endgame specifically, the Endgame portion. This was a 4-player invitational, and Nihed takes down Freeman 2-0, PSZ takes down Order 2-1, and then Nihed takes down PSC 3-0. Strong result here. Nihed does claim the series. He wins the endgame tournament, but he also qualifies for Vortex. He's going to be a part of that offline tournament over in Budapest. GG well played. Congratulations here to Nihed. Wishing the best when it comes to the offline tournament. Do wish him the best. Speaking of Hungarian events and speaking of the Vortex series, that leads us into the Hungarian Pro Series number 7. This event also does have players seeded and invited into the Vortex tournament. Nihed, if you recall, just qualified, by the way, and this led us here into the playoffs themselves. The group stage was already concluded months ago, but here we have the group stage. Nihed, he takes down Moston 3-0. Freeman takes down Robbie G 3-2, and Nihed also takes down Freeman 4-2 here. Nihed will claim the win, but he already qualified for Vortex, so the qualifying spot goes to Freeman, goes to Moston and Robbie G. So all 4 playoff players, they all qualify. I mean, Nihed already had, but the other players also as well. They qualified for the event, but congratulations to Nihed for claiming the win. Congratulations. 4-2, back and forth between himself and Freeman. That is what we want. And I believe we still have a couple more events to go before we wrap up and conclude the players confirmed for the event. Quickly double checking, we still have the Hungarian Pro Series Sunday Cup number 2 that still has to play out, and we still have the Last Chance qualifier. So there's still 2 more events in this circuit leading into the Budapest event. So best of luck. Best of luck to Aztecs the Winter and to all the other Hungarian community members organizing, running, and funding the events. Best of luck. That leads us into the Legacy Weekly Japan, number 501. I'm ready for some boba. No, he's where is the boba? He's not here. Tapioca did not compete here this week, so no boba in sight. In the absence of boba, we have Deadly Kitten. Deadly Kitten takes down Entaro, example 2-0, Akira 2-0, Hirakui 2-1, and Crimson 2-0 in the grand finals. It's been a while since I've seen Crimson in the finals. I'll be honest. Crimson takes down Nishizo takes down Sayark and Kaiman. Big wins there for Crimson. Does fall 2-0, but regardless, strong showing here for Crimson to make it to the finals. Deadly Kitten does claim the win. That leads us into our show matches. Here we have the Basilisk Big Brain Bouts number 115. Now we had our... Oh, sorry. We have the... Never mind. We have the StarCraft 2 Weekly Open Tournaments. Sorry, I just didn't have that open for some reason. On my laptop. We have our weekly... the Sunrise Cup. The Sunrise Cup, if you recall, did rebrand into a new event sponsored and organized by Thunderfire. The StarCraft 2 Weekly Open Tournament 2026 Season 1 number 6. Again, this is a big, massive event for the Chinese region. 500 USD on the line. Again, this is a bigger prize pool than even a lot of the other open weeklies, by the way. Like that's how much money is behind these events. That's how much money that Thunderfire is investing into the Chinese scene. Once again, we do have Lemon. Lemon coming in as the favorite player. Lemon, he gets a walkover win over... Oh, is that Millennium Fox? It is. No. So he gets a walkover win over Millennium Fox. Feels bad, man. Takes down Misaki 2-0. Takes down Jeshi 2-1. As we did have that rematch series between the two players. Lemon takes down Triple H 2-0 as well. Triple H, he had taken down Cyan earlier. That's a crazy upset, by the way. Cyan is favored to go far, and Triple H takes him down. This is why I said it was an upset earlier when Triple H didn't 2-0 his opponent in the team league. Again, Triple H, like I rate quite highly, so for him to not claim the 2-0 previously was a crazy result. Here, Lemon takes on Triple H 2-0 to advance on to face off against SCV in the finals. SCV has been improving heavily over the past year of play. Previously, when I think of the top Protoss players in China, I think of Lemon, I think of Cyan, I think of Triple H, I think of Joloa Loves, I think of Potato, I think of many other Protoss players. I think of Rewhite, for example. I did not think of SCV, but again, over the past year of play, SCV has been improving and has been excelling and has been surpassing some of these other veteran players. So I would say he's like the rising star in the Chinese scene. He's been around for a long time, I should emphasize that, but his recent growth and his recent performances has been improving quite steadily and quite steadily over the past year. So he 2-0s Kingslayer, he 2-0s, that's Nanyu? Hold on. No, this is Tong Tong. I do not know who that is. But 2-0s Kingslayer, 2-0s Tong Tong, 2-0s Methuselah, a player that I want to say that they've caught our attention before, just because it's a name that I'm not very familiar with. He 2-1 Rewhite and he 2-1 Joloa. Those are some big wins, by the way. Who is this guy? Plays for Rookie Warp Gates. Alternate ID. Oh, Chen. Okay, that's a player that we're more familiar with. Chen, now renamed as Methuselah. Methuselah does take down Jolo Loves and Rewhite. Big wins there for Methuselah. Does that mean anything? Is that... Hold on. Should I recognize that in some way? Methuselah is a biblical patriarch and figure in Judaism. Christianity. Okay. Well, there you go. It's I've never heard the name before, but sure, why not? But Methuselah does end up falling to SCV, and then SCV takes down Lemon 2-0. That's a big win, by the way. It's a big win for SCV to take down Lemon 2-0. Lemon, I would say, is favored, and I want to say Lemon has won the majority of these tournaments. Let me just double check, actually. Has Lemon won every one of these events? So number 5, Lemon was the champion. Number 4, Lemon was the champion. Number 3, Lemon was the champion. Number 2, Lemon. Number 1, SCV. So I was about to say, like in my mind, like Lemon had won every single one of these tournaments, and almost he had won all of them except for the first edition. Fun fact: in the first edition, SCV beat Lemon. So SCV he beat him in the first edition of the series, and he beats him here in the grand finals of the sixth edition as well. So far, we've only had two champions for the StarCraft Weekly Open tournament, Lemon and SCV. Those are the only champions so far, and they've been trading a little bit back and forth. Lemon, for the most part, has the most wins, but SCV, not too far behind him. Not too far. GG well played. GG well played. With that, that leads us into our show match series, into the Bastards Big Brain Bouts number 115. Here we had our three show matches. We had the Bastards one, the fun one, and the good one. For the fun one, we had Reaper versus Minizerg UA. Oh, we actually had a close one here. Went all the way to the ace match. I'm impressed. I mean, this is ZVZ. I'm sure this was hyper aggressive. Reaper is a very cheesy, very aggressive player. Minizerg is a younger up-and-comer. So went all the way to the ace match. Minizerg does claim the series, but we had a very close, very fun back and forth. Leads us into the good one, question mark, with Fionn versus Bly. I think Bly would have been the fun one, to be honest. Like, Bly, he recently returned, if you remember. We did take note of his performance in the Monday Night Weekly last week, where Sheamus did defeat Bly. Here, Fionn also takes on Bly 3-1. Bly, I don't think he's fully in form, of course, but great to see him again. It's one of those things where Bly, he just shows up randomly, like, every 5 months. Like, he's like every 6 months or so, like, Bly shows up.
He's become a mythical creature that just appears suddenly in a bracket.
He just suddenly appears and then suddenly disappears. Like that's just Bly. So great to see him. Great to see him, of course. That leads into the Bastards one. Oh my god, where did we have another qualifying series? Like Cyril versus I mean, I know there's been a lot of hype around Sheamus, but we just threw him at the Wolves. Like what's oh my god, we threw Sheamus at the finish phenom.
Like Sheamus, you did pretty well. Here you have Cyril.
Here, play against the world champion. Oh my god. I just does not hold back here. Obviously, Cyril wins. I mean, you know, if you see Sheamus taking down Hero and taking down Classic and taking down Bjorn, you might be thinking to yourself like, "Yo, that maybe he can threaten Cyril." Fun fact though, those are very different matchups. Like, I would have given Sheamus like another Protoss opponent or a Terran opponent. I think Sheamus versus Bjorn would have been a lot of fun here.
But this is a Basilisk
guess,
one. This is a Basilisk one, so just put him versus Trigger.
Put him versus True. I would have Sheamus versus Trigger, or I would put Sheamus versus Bly for the fun one. That's what but yeah, I think this finals, the Bastards series was a little bit lopsided there. But I hope that the games were fun nonetheless. GG well played. As the Cyril does claim the win. Leads us into the Inu battles number 16. Into the Inu battles. Once again, Inu's been pretty consistent with this. He's been pretty consistent with these Inu battles. I'm still tempted to reach out into cast, but at the same time, you know, I want to keep it lean. You know, I want to. At the same time, we're fully booked up.
From that phrase, okay? You do not get to say that.
We are currently fully booked up when it comes to our schedule. So finding the time to cover an event like this, I would love to. And hey, you know what, if we were like a Wardy or if we were like a Steadfast, if we were someone that doesn't really cost much StarCraft, then sure, you know, cover this series. Problem is that we cost everything, so we just have no room. Like we have no room, pappy. Aye. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Light doesn't have enough to cost indeed. True. Up next, though, we do have our Open Cups. We have our Open Cups. Oh, right, sorry, I kind of glossed over it. So congratulations, it was a best of 9 between Hero and Bjorn. Hero does claim the series 5-2 over Bjorn. Heavily in favor of Hero here, but shout out to Bjorn for posing a threat and for taking some games. Shout out to Inu for hosting this event, and again, has been hosting these on a pretty regular basis when it comes to Inu battles. Once again, they're not even casted in English, so tempted to cover, but we'll have to wait for our schedule to open up a little bit. If we could open up our schedule a little bit, you know, maybe when GSL wraps up for the season and when RSL wraps up for the season and when the other big events die down a little bit and we just enter a bit of a lull, then we can jump into some new battles. Maybe. Up next, we do have our our OC. We have our OC event. Looks like no King of the Hill this week, but I think we covered two King of the Hills last week, so I mean, maybe we just doubled up. But we had the OC Rising Star. We covered day 2. We covered day 2 of this event. Coming into this event here, we have all the rising talents, of course. We have Shameless, Jumi, Yuri Soldier, Gigi Machine, Moja, and many, many others. We did wrap up the upper bracket matches, of course. So we have Shameless taking down Fion 2-0, Jumi took down Mini-Zurg 2-0, Yuri Soldier over Ledlix, Hacker's Top over Hydra. That was a big win, by the way. I would say that was an upset. I was favoring Hydra over Hacker's Top, but Hacker's Top does claim the win over Hydra. Big win there for Hacker's Top. Moja takes on Arts, and Gigi Machine takes on Hatsu as well. We had 7 best of 3s. Coming into this event, I still look at Shameless and Gigi Machine. They were the 2 finalists, and we expect them to be the finalists again here in the season. But there are definitely players that can threaten them. There are players like Honmono, Baby Marine, Art, Moja, Yuri Soldier. There are definitely players here that can threaten them. Jumi as well. But the pressure's on. The pressure's on. Can we stop the Shame Machine finals? Can we stop them from facing in the finals? Best of luck. Best of luck. It's going to take a couple of months to wrap up this tournament. Every game is casted, and we do cover both upper and lower bracket matches.
I cannot add the joke when you say that one of them, the people who can like threaten them, is Art. I'm like, which one? They're both there.
No. No. Only one can threaten them. Only one. See our best guess as to who I'm referring to. But we then have our Open Cups. We have our Open Tournaments here for the week. First, we do have the Sparkling Tuning Cup, the STC number 131. Again, this is the longest running Open Cup in StarCraft 2. This is the TLMC 22 edition. We are featuring At Attorney's Edge, BlackRock, Defender's Lab, Exarch, Fear and Faith, Lockdown, Lumen, Old Sun. I have not cast on Lumen in quite some time. Old Sun Temple, I didn't even realize it was part of this tournament. Old Sun Temple, Rainfall, Rorschach, Sanctuary 3, Storm Surge, Verdant Temple, Void Storm, Washout, and Wave Breaker. We have our 9 maps here. Oh, actually, no, this is incorrect. This might be a reason as to why this was a little bit messy here. So the map pool for this event is the top. These are the 16 maps, but this is not the map pool for the tournaments. So we're gonna have to fix that up.
Is it on Wikipedia? Who put that there?
On Wikipedia, someone listed all 16 maps. Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, so gonna have to fix that one up. We'll have to double check the previous Tuning Cups as well. Do I check the history to see who it was?
Do you want to call someone out? Because
I think it was you. I'm looking. I'm
How?
looking at the history. It's you're the only one. It's you and the bot, like Conric bot. Unless the bot might have done it, maybe. But I don't know how the bot would do that.
I wouldn't do that because I have 9 maps. Like it can be more than 9 because I would know if there's more than 9. What the heck?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll have to fix the Wikipedia page. Regardless, we have our weekly tournament here. We had our top players. We had Classic, we had Shameless, we had Percival, Christiana, Art as well. When it comes to the event itself, we had Classic. Classic took down Mini-Zurg UA 2-1. Likewise, taking down Shameless 2-0 in the semifinals. Shameless took down Nick Ratch earlier in the bracket. And likewise, on the other side of the bracket, we had Christiana. Christiana 2-0s Art, 2-0s Percival. Big win there for Christiana. I still remember the semis, by the way, where Christiana, we were playing on Sanctuary, and Christiana took a bad fight. He lost his 3 Colossus. That was before the fight even really began. Then he committed. He won the fight. He won the game from there. The game ended. He won the series, and he messaged me. He was like, "What just happened?" And I was like, "Yeah, you lost your Colossus. Like things are looking bad, and then you won." He's like, "Yeah, I don't know how." Like, like he was in disbelief as to how he won that game on Sanctuary 3. Me, I was as well. Like it was shocking. But yeah, GG well played. So Christiana takes down Percival 2-0, and then we had a best of 3 finals. Both players did agree on a best of 3 instead of a best of 5, and Classic does claim the win 2-1 over Christiana. GG. GG, well played. Oh. And with that, Classic just came the series. That leads us into the Wardies TV Monday number 86. Unfortunately, when it comes to Wardies Open Cups, they do not feature the TLMC maps. Unfortunately, they use the regular ladder map pool instead. Just bear that in mind. Here we have our top players. We have Max Pax, we got Shameless, Percival, Lambo. As a reminder, you might be looking at this and might be thinking, hold up, we're missing a lot of players here. I believe the Wardies TV Monday was clashing with the GSL qualifiers, right? Yes. They were clashing with each other.
They
That is
actually
why like there's
they put it a
Clem.
little bit later, but yeah, I think they were still clashing.
Yeah, it was clashing. That's why like there's no Clem, there's no Hero, there's no Classic. So there's a very, very lean bracket for the War TV Monday because he clashed with the GSL qualifiers, or he didn't chose to run it over. Of course, as Kuro mentioned, did host a little bit later in the hopes that maybe that helps. Did allow for one player, Björn, or it says Björn's in the notables, but maybe he forfeited. That's my assumption. Let's have a look here. Why is Björn in the notable? Am I blind? Do you see him? Look at the notables lists of the Wikipedia page. Björn is there, and if you look at the challenge bracket, Björn is not there.
So I assume, if that's the case, I assume what happened is that he was signed up, but he didn't check in, and nobody just removed him from the thing. That's probably what happened.
No, we got some cleanup to do. When it comes to other players that signed up, Hero signed up as well. Fun fact: Hero signed up, Hero checked in, but he's not on the notables list. God damn it! What's happening to Wikipedia?
I think the automatization may be going too far. Because people are starting to rely on the automatic updates, but maybe somebody should still be checking them.
Yeah. Interesting. But regardless, when it comes to the event itself, again, all the top Koreans, even Hero forfeited, by the way, just because it was clashing with the GSL qualifiers. So here we had Max. He 2-0s Nick Ract, he 2-0s Shameless, he makes it to the grand finals. Lambo took down Yang Yakov 2-0, he took down Percival 2-1, and did actually fall to Max in the grand finals. Did fall to him 3-1, so congratulations to Max. I mean, I would say that there wasn't really many players that can threaten, or any players that can threaten Max here when it comes to our bigger names. So no Clem, no Hero, no Classic, for example, no Solar, Shin, Rogue, Cure, Björn. As again, they were all playing in the qualifier. So GG will play, Max has claimed the series and is going to be this week's What is the Monday champion. That leads us into the Monday Night Weekly number 51. Here, this was later on in the evening, and here we actually had some Korean representation, as this was after the GSO qualifiers. So the marathon was crazy for these players. So we actually had Björn and Classic taking parts. So not too many Koreans, but we had a handful of them nonetheless that decided to just stay up later into the night to compete. Max, he takes down Nick Rack 2-1, takes down Shameless 2-1. Then faces off against Classic. Classic took down Strange 2-1. Strange takes the map. Takes down Björn 2-0. Classic takes down Max in the grand finals 2-1 in the upper bracket. Then we have the rematch series where Classic wins it again 2-1 over Max. So big win there for Classic, despite playing into being sleep deprived, despite playing the GSL qualifiers first and then the Monday Night Weekly, still takes down Max. GG. GG will play. Classic does claim the series. That leads us into the Big Star Cup number 81. We covered this in the morning, yesterday, of course. Here we had.
I just want to say, as I definitely didn't get distracted, I did check, and actually I did put in correct map pool, and then like literally 2 minutes after me, someone else edited the map pool. I will not say who, but literally 2 minutes after I did, so I did not notice. God damn it.
Yeah. But with that, we're going to be getting into the Biggest Cup number 81. This also does feature the TLMC map pool, by the way, their own TLMC map pool of not all 16, but their own 9 maps. Here we had Björn. The one difference, of course, is they use Storm Push. I'm not too fond of that they use that, but they do use Storm Push instead of Storm Surge. But Björn takes on Chubbuck 2-0, takes on Teardrop 2-0, takes on Cham 3-1, and then does face off against Percival in the grand finals. Percival, he did face off against Creator. They went all the way to the ace match. They had a back and forth, went all the way to the ace match. Big win there for Percival, does barely take down Creator. Then we have the finals, Björn versus Percival. Björn does claim the win at 3-1 over Percival in the grand finals. GG well played. Björn does claim the series. That leads us into the Kung Fu Cup weekly number 7. Once again, this tournament does not feature Team Liquid map contest maps, but this event was not clashing with any kind of other major events. So here we have a solid lineup. We've got Clem, Björn, Rogue, Classic, Hero. We've got Zaun. We have all the big names, all the big players. Hero takes down Ghost Runner, takes a game off of Hero. This is one of the, and Rewide as well. I would not be surprised, by the way, if Hero played Terran. Hero, whenever he plays against quote-unquote lower-ranked players, he does often off-race, so I'm curious if that happened there. But Hero takes down Ghost Runner 2-1. Hero takes down Rewire 2-1. Did drop some maps. Curious if, again, Terran was played. Hero, likewise, takes down Classic 2-0. Big win for Hero, by the way. That's a big win, 2-0 against Classic. Clem on the flip side took down Rogue. Sorry, Beyond on the flip side took down Rogue 2-0. Took down Clem 2-0 as well. Huge wins there for Beyond. Went all the way to the finals here. Hero versus Beyond went all the way to the ace match. Best of 5. Back and forth as well. Hero takes down Beyond 3-2 to be this week's Kung Fu Cup champion. GG. GG well played. Congratulations here to Hero as it does claim the win. Likewise, I'm curious, did Inu rebrand or not? I'm curious if whoever made the list of the streams here is aware. We have Zodiac TV on the bottom. That's Inu.
Yeah, I've seen Zodiac TV like on every bracket lately, and yeah, again, I cannot tell if somebody's just putting like the name of the channel or if Inu actually wants to be credited as that.
Yeah, I'm curious because if that's the case, then it wouldn't be the Inu battles, though, right? Like he's like it's still called the Inu battles, and he still is branded as Nashibi Inu as well.
I think at least some people are aware that it's Inu because I also saw that like in some sections you also have the commentators, like the actual casters listed, and their Inu is on the list, so somebody knows that Zodiac TV is Inu. So I am not sure what's going on there. We have to ask him himself.
Yeah, it's possible that maybe he still goes by Inu, but just like us, like I'm light, but we cast on the CranKy Ducklings. You know, you have like I don't know, Rifkin casting for Base Trade TV. Like maybe like he plans on having his channel have like other casters involved or something. So the stream is called Zodiac TV for that reason. Like it's maybe we'll reach out and try to figure out what's going on. But yeah, GG. GG all played. With that, congratulations to Hero for claiming the win in this week's KFC. And with that, that wraps up all of our events for the week. Again, it was a bit of a messier week when it comes to open tournaments just because of the GSL qualifiers. They did go over the Water TV Monday and they led into the Monday Night Weekly, so there were less participants than we often do see. So that did impact some participation. But again, it's just been a very intense week. Very intense, very jam-packed as well. Oh, it's been brutal. With that, though, if you want to check out some of these other events and take part yourself, you can do so via the sign-up list. ! Sign-up list in the chat. And you can get a link to all of our upcoming events. We do have the KSL this weekend. We have the Water TV qualifiers for the Spring Championship. We have the Hungarian Pro Series, too, if you happen to be from Hungary. We have Monday Night Weeklies, Tuna Cups, Kung Fu Cups, and more. We have the Adrenal Cup, actually. I'm less familiar with this event. It's by Mr. Mike. Hello. I said that as if I know who that is. I don't think I know who that is.
They have a Discord server, and they basically organize events for that Discord server. So you have to be a member of the server to participate. We have we have talked about the Show Match Fridays before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. I say that just because they're using the TLMC maps, which is really cool. Like this is the TLMC version, the Adrenal Cup. So we'll see if this becomes a regular event. I do look forward to it. Do wish them the best when it comes to their hosting and organizing of a new series. Let's go. So best of luck when it comes to their organizing of that. Otherwise, with that, we're going to be wrapping up here for the evening. Also, if you want to support us, you can do so via Patreon. ! Patreon in the chat. Our Patreon does fund our tournaments on a regular basis. If you wish us to reach some greater heights and greater goals and greater stretch goals for our tournaments, you can do so via the Patreon. All that money goes towards the players, and goes towards boosting the prize pool and reaching the stretch goals to have a greater prize pool and to work towards the monthly finals of the Tuna Cups. So you can help us out via the Patreon. Likewise, there are other benefits as well regarding the replay packs alongside Discord channels as well. So you can, of course, receive those benefits via the Patreon or by subscribing. So that is available to you if you wish. Otherwise, with that, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Again, it was a pretty intense podcast going through all the events and going through some news that we did miss out on last week as well. And again, this is a weekly podcast. Our next podcast should be next week on Tuesday. A bit of an irregular time, but as you mentioned, it's just such a jam-packed month of May due to GSL and RSL and other events. So we're doing our best to just kind of mix and match and rotate and move everything around, and we're trying to make everything fit. We mentioned earlier that one of the reasons why MSO sign-ups was so low is because MSO was midweek, even with the podcast. Also, it's also being thrown around a little bit as well. But we'll do our best. We'll do our best to accommodate. We'll do our best to adjust with the other events that are going on. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Our next broadcast should be in around 12 hours. 12 hours time, we're going to be live with Amantis. Amantis is StarCraft number 44. And bearing in mind that tomorrow, in less than 24 hours, the RSL playoffs begin. And we'll be there. We'll be there to co-stream said RSL playoffs. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for some more StarCraft. Also, shout out to Kura for handling the production. And thank you so much for tuning in. See you next time. Ciao. Bye. Ciao. See you next time.